Hey there, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. I've been having a pretty good day in my corner of the world. I've been so stressed out these last 2, 3, 4 weeks. To be honest, this whole freaking year, I've been stressed. And it seems like I get a break, and then one thing comes up, and I get really stressed out. And then I look back at the things that I was stressing about, and I was like, oh my god, they weren't a big deal back when I was stressing about them, but in that moment, they do seem like a big deal because those are the things that you're focused on. Your attention is focused on those things that are stressing you out, and of course, that can blind you from the bird's eye view of your own life. Today, I have been extra stressed about a couple of things that I have been navigating through, and then one thing came up, and it was just so unexpected, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to surrender at this point. And surrendering doesn't really mean that I'm giving up. It just means that I'm giving up my stress. I'm not going to stress about it, or at least try not to stress about it. Stress about the issues that I know will not be an issue in a year from now, in 3 months from now, in 5 months from now, in 10 years from now, you know? And of course, stress is important in one's life because it pushes you to do things, to actually do the things that you need to do in your life. And so you have to feel a bit of discomfort in order to move through your goals, right? But that can go to an extreme where you're always stressed out. And I feel like in this capitalistic society that we live in, especially in this neoliberal framework that we've created, I don't want to get political or anything or into any kind of ideology, but I do think that the system that you live in, the system that is the system of your country, does affect the way you look at the world and the way you deal with things. And I think in this high-paced society where everything has to happen now, it's really easy to be constantly stressed, even though there aren't immediate things to get stressed about. There aren't things that really require extreme amounts of stress. I've noticed that in certain parts of the world, certain parts that I've traveled, especially islands, the islands that I've traveled to, you can feel the lax attitude that those folks have. And it's because things are at a much slower pace, and I think there's something to say about being next to the ocean that kind of slows you down. And there are studies that show that the sound of the ocean waves actually relaxes your brain waves and takes it to like a quasi-meditative state, which makes sense, right? And it would explain why people that live near the beach tend to be more relaxed than people that live in a city. And of course, people that are living in a city are constantly distracted by so many things going on in the environment, right? Just try to take it easy, folks. I know it's easier said than done, but, one day we're stressing about X, Y, and Z, and the next day we're dead. And we don't know when that's happening, so might as well try to live a life of balance, right? It's important to be stressed sometimes. Like I said, stress isn't a bad thing. It pushes you through, that discomfort pushes you to do things that will help you achieve your goals. But if you're in a constant state of stress, that's where it becomes a problem, and then it starts affecting your health and affecting your state of mind and affecting the way you see the world. And living in a high-paced society, or living in a very capitalistic-oriented society where it's very transactional, where things are very transactional, and it's not everywhere, of course, right? For example, in this country, if you go to places out in the sticks or in the countryside, people are way more relaxed because they're not constantly bombarded by stimuli, or if they are, it's very minimal and it's easy to tune out, And there's also something to be said about being out in nature, because it reminds you, people that live out in the sticks or in the countryside, or just away from big cities, there's something to be said about being out in nature and how that slows you down, because first of all, we are in nature, right? But second of all, observing the natural landscape around us slows us down, because, the trees, the plants, the cacti, wherever you are, whatever kind of landscape you find yourself in, they just are. They're not trying to go anywhere or do anything or be anything, right? They're just trees or cacti, or they're just a mountain, they're just being. And it just reminds you to be, that you don't always have to do something. Sometimes you can just be. And so when I go out to the mountains, I just think about how these mountains have been here for thousands and thousands of years, before I was even alive or even around. And they will be here for thousands and even millions of years after I'm gone. And they'll continue to be and move with whatever changes they have to experience in their environment, whether that's erosion or earthquakes or plate tectonics moving and things like that. They'll just go with the flow, basically, and be with those changes. And that's what nature reminds me of, just being. And people in the countryside, people that live out in the sticks, have that advantage, of being able to just go out and be with the natural elements around them, and remind themselves that, hey, we're only here for a short amount of time, so might as well not get too stressed, right? So that's why it's important to go out in nature, in my opinion, my humble opinion. If you live in a big city or you live in a very congested area, it's important to get out there and remember to be. So I'm wishing you all the best on your journey, and don't forget to be, and don't get too stressed. Okay? Peace and love. Bye.